Hello, and welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. I'm your host, Hannah Hislop, and I'm here with Julie Waters to talk about mortgage and her job as Director of Operations and Human Resources at the Office of Chapter 13 Trustee. Julie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having me today.
Of course, thanks for coming. I'm so excited to get to you, but first we're going to cut to a commercial, so be with us after the break.
This is Loomsday in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Bloomsday.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Bloomsday wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
Welcome to Apex Plaza, Spokane's one-stop cannabis destination. Apex Cannabis features thousands of economy, value, and luxury cannabis products. Cannagear features hemp-based CBD products, glass, goods, and gear. Stop by 1325 North Division to experience the Apex difference.
This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risks associated with the consumption of this product. For use only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Welcome back to the Pulse of Spokane. So, Julie, I would love to know a little bit about you so we can talk in our conversation further.
All right. Well, I grew up in Davenport, not too far down the road here. Left when I was 18. Went to school. I ended up marrying a Navy pilot, and so I've lived kind of all over the country, mostly on the East Coast. Somehow I fell into human resources as a career. I've been doing that for 22 years now. Really like it. I was placed as a temp, so you never know what's going to happen when you take some of those jobs. But I was placed as a temp in an HR department, and it was off to the races for there. It's like I found out what I wanted to be when I grew up. So worked in companies in Florida, in Boston, and in DC, and then 10 years ago moved back here to Spokane. So
That's so fun. Sounds like such an adventure.
it was for a girl from Davenport. I got to see a lot of stuff. So
That's so fun. So I have to ask you, what's your favorite part about Spokane?
I'm kind of a food person, so I'm so impressed with all the amazing restaurants in town. I was really happy when came back and found quite a variety of really good quality.
Yeah, as Spokane gets bigger, I think the restaurants get better.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah. So you are the Director of Operations and Human Resources at the Office of Chapter 13 Trustee.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Could you tell us a little bit more about your job and what you do there?
Sure. The Office of the Chapter 13 Trustee is the office, and the trustee himself is the person who is kind of the go-between between debtors in bankruptcy, creditors in bankruptcy, and the court. And we take care of dispersing the money out as appropriate after the court confirms the plan and sets the order the way the money's going to go out. So the trustee's been there for 30 years. So it runs very smoothly. He's super knowledgeable. The staff is great. We've really got a lot of, we've toned them in to where everyone's rocking it out on a daily basis. I'm really proud of them. So
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how has that transition looked since COVID started, since we had to be in quarantine?
Luckily, because my team is a bunch of all-stars, we made the decision essentially over the weekend, and Monday did some admin kind of work. Tuesday brought everybody in, said get your stuff, get your computers, and head out. I have an IT contractor who's also a rock star, and got everything up. Everyone was up by Wednesday, Thursday. We kind of had to do it in little waves because there's 10 of us. So, but yeah, it was, and everyone's just doing a really good job. I'm super grateful that we're in a position that we were able to not only work from home and not just succeed, not just, kind of status quo, but we're really doing well work-wise, and that I'm able to keep the staff, and the trustee is able to keep the staff employed.
That's super important during these times.
For sure.
So aside from what it looks like at home when you're working remote now, what does the business side of this look like? Have you seen more people that need help since COVID and stuff like that?
Not yet. I am expecting there to be a spike in some bankruptcy filings, assuming once the mortgage forbearance and forbearances that people have elected into end, or when the moratorium for evictions for renters ends, which I think just ended. Some of the government-backed financing doesn't, the moratorium for those to foreclose is not until January, but that's just government-funded loans, VA, Fannie Mae, HUD, but private loans through, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those are not protected anymore unless you're in a forbearance plan.
So can you tell me a little bit about how your previous jobs, because you've had a couple of them that have got you to where you are today.
Yes.
How have those helped you, especially during COVID times?
I think just the variety of the positions. As you said, I kind of worked all over the country as a trailing spouse at the time. You're forced to move, and a lot of times the spouses aren't able to build a career. I was in a lucky industry, or lucky niche anyway, that allowed me to, you need HR in every industry in every city. So I was lucky to fall into a career path that was portable like that. So just to see a variety of organizations and to kind of just glean best practices from each of them.
Yeah.
So
what have been some of the most interesting HR experiences that you've had?
Things you maybe shouldn't say on live media. Some, things that people get fired immediately for. Been a couple of those.
Yeah.
I think I've always been a really kind of nosy person, I think. I think that's why I've done well in HR. So I want to sit down and get to know people. And so I can connect with people pretty easily on a regular basis. So if there is an issue and I come and sit down in your office or whatever, it's not scary. Because I come and sit down in your office all the time. It's the management by walking around kind of thing. So to be able to come and sit down and have a conversation that may be constructive criticism or may be hard to hear, it makes it easier to hear because we already have a relationship established. And that's where, the many years of HR has come into play. It's been helpful.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I saw you have a video with Disrupt HR.
Awesome.
On taking advantage of your screw-ups.
Yes.
Could you elaborate or maybe summarize a little bit of that talk that you had?
Sure. I'm very much of the thought process of if you're you're not winning and losing, you're maybe winning and learning, because you need to learn from these failures. If you keep doing the same screw-ups over and over again, you're bad at your job, or whatever the case may be. So something needs to happen. You need to take whatever that screw-up was and turn it around.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with my boss, who was always so just chill, super just mellow guy, great leadership. And I ended up having to say, we have to fire this person. And he's like, why am I just hearing about these problems now? So I learned that my communication was poor at that point.
Yeah.
So to be able to, okay, well, now I'm sitting in the boss's office almost literally daily to fill him in on what's going on, depending on the size of the staff, because he doesn't want any surprises, and I don't want to be the one launching that surprise on him. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that was the biggest one, is that, is that communication and keeping all the lines open, whether it's where you're managing up, you're managing down, across the whole organization.
So you mentioned that Disrupt HR is a national chain. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
It is I don't know if it is an organization, and they go to cities. Usually they have a sponsor organization in the city that kind of throws it and gets the people to speak. And it allows HR people from all over the country to give their specialty, give their thing that they know to the rest of us. And of course, it's launched out onto, it's YouTube, but it's also on a variety of newsletters. And so it gets out to all the HR professionals that are subscribed. And so you're not just learning from one or two people, you're learning from your colleagues all over the country.
That's really cool.
It's a great service.
How did you get involved with that?
I think I'm just on enough newsletters, particularly there's some local ones as well, that I saw that they were looking for speakers. With my work with Military Officers Association, National Military Spouse Network, as well as the Chapter 13 Trustee organization, I've done enough speaking that I wanted to volunteer and do that. So.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more question for you.
Okay.
And it's, what
Ready.
has been the most rewarding part of your career?
I think, honestly, being able to advise leadership of a way to go, whether it's with a personnel issue, a benefits issue, or as you come to later in your career, a more strategic, this is the way we should take the organization. And so to be able to really grow with, look at the organization as a whole, not just in the small HR avenue, but to be able to see it in a larger picture and help guide the organization.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being with us and
Thank you,
sharing your
Hannah.
advice. Yes, it was so nice to meet you and talk to you. So thank you.
Thank you.
And tune in next week for more on the Pulse of Spokane.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.